Yeah, these you could find on eBay, and they're not that expensive. And these were like pristine. They were, still really good shape.
Yeah.
And my friend's gonna give me the stereo viewer so it can actually put them out for
Oh
people to
yeah.
look at in stereo.
I did a volunteer event with the World War I Centennial Commission last weekend, and then one of the guys in our volunteer group had the stereo vision thing.
Yeah. I've been sleepy for a couple of days. Period. The partner's not done something like me. Yeah, see what they did is early in the war, or actually before the war, this was the medic bag they carried. More of a satchel, and inside it had the contents. They had bandages and ammonia, spirits of ammonia, and some first aid packs, and scissors and tweezers and tourniquet. And they even had this folding light was part of the contents of this that would go in
Interesting.
there.
That's
What they
interesting.
ended up doing, though, by the time we went to Europe, they
Yeah.
had gotten rid of that pretty much. Now, some of the guys still carried them or Musette bags with extra supplies.
Right.
But they went to this belt concept. So an
Ah.
A-man, this was a medic belt. It looks like a cartridge belt, but it's not. The medic belts, the pockets were deeper. They were deeper so they could accommodate the bandages. And there was a regimen, a specific items that went in each one, unless you customized it yourself. And the idea was when you were issued this or you got a new one or you got somebody else's, everything was in the same place. You could reach for things without having to look. This first one would have had a flask in it, sometimes with a cup like this one, would have been clear or amber glass, and that would have had alcohol in it,
Yeah.
like a drinking alcohol, or sometimes liquid morphine. Also had a tourniquet, steel tourniquet. The next pocket had these paper wrapped bandages. There were about 6 when I opened this up.
Sure.
This one had 2 of these sublimated gauze, which is basically gauze that's impregnated with, I'm saying it all day. Oh gosh, go ahead, these a minute. Carbolic acid.
Carbolic acid. Yeah.
Right. Then the
Because I listened to the diary of a nurse, and she's complaining all the time about how long it took these injured soldiers to get back from the front to these
Right.
hospitals, and by the time, like if it took 2 days even, like they could see them going south. Not only, and then their dressings were so messed
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And it was so painful to get
and they had to reclean
the
everything
dressings off and
and
re-clean it, and
everything,
yeah.
These dressings here, there were actually these back 5 pockets had these dressings in, but there were actually 2 of these in each one of these. I mean, how they could barely get them in, because when I took this apart, it's all I could do to get them out because they've been there 100 years, and they were packed like that, too deep in there. So they would have had 10 of these. And I opened one up, it came apart, and actually there are 2 bandages in there. And it says if there's a lot of blood flow, you use them both. You obviously use the whole thing.
Yeah.
If not, if it's a minor blood flow and you want a sterile dressing, you can use one. So you actually have 2 bandages in one. So it's technically 20 bandages in there.
How would they tourniquet people?
The tourniquet was just a strap
Just that strap.
with in the field. Yeah, strap with a little 3-prong or.
Right.
That is a World War I issued U.S. tourniquet. That's all
Wow.
it was. Canvas strapping, and just put that through there and pull it,
Yep.
crank it down, and that's all it was. Or the belt. That's why I had the belt there. Guys used their belts.
Sometimes the belt.
Belts, tourniquets.
Yep. To this day, even.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know. Then they had 2 boxes of iodine swabs in this pocket, and the last pocket had an adhesive tape, pins, safety pins, and straight pins. And the straight pins were actually used in the field for suturing because they could push them in very quickly and just to close a wound up, they could just pin it shut.
Really?
Yeah, with either safety pins or with the straight pins, but the straight pins were actually faster.
Huh. Wow. Yeah. I imagine what probably happened was he went to train as a medic at camp, an ambulance driver at Camp Oglethorpe, and then later on, because he was from, Pennsylvania or whatever, he ended up, getting married into the 79th Division. I don't know how that worked, but neither did William Walker down there. He didn't know whether the 79th medics went down as a group and then they came back to join the unit up in Camp Meade or whatever.
Yeah. Now this here, they would have had a canteen then with a cup also. There's another pouch that they would have put on here, and that was for this diagnostic tag, which is you put the soldier's name, what his wound or illness was, and then what you gave him for treatment. And then in that pocket, they would also have just a pair of scissors and a pair of tweezers in this little pouch that would go in here. Mm-hmm. And then this last pouch over here that every soldier had a Carlisle dressing in, which is still used today. This you just pull this, and there's a compressed bandage in there, similar to these, a little bit smaller.
I see.
So that goes in there. So that's what they would have worn, and it would have had a hatchet on it. They would have had the hatchet on there for cutting wood to make splints and things. But that was that's what the medic.
That's
wore.
kind of what that thing is.
Yeah, well, before the war, when they were still wearing that bag,
Yeah.
they wore a pistol belt, and on the pistol belt, besides their canteen and their Carlisle dressing, they had a bolo knife.
Huh.
And this was not an offensive weapon. It was used primarily for cutting brush, small branches to make splints.
I see.
And this was actually issued to a hospital company to
Field artillery.
field artillery. Mm-hmm. And this is pre-war.
Right.
These would not fit on this belt, so they were in the way. They found they
Might work as a great weapon of last resort too.
So they got rid of it, and they went to the hatchet.
I see.
So they went to trade that. But in World War II, the U.S. Navy corpsmen, they carried the same bolo type knife, again for hanging. A lot of people know it was for cutting off arms and legs. That's what it was used for. I'm sure there were times where they were used as weapons and that happened, but it was basically for cutting brush and branches.
Right.
It was designed for. That's why it's so heavy and balanced the way it is.
And these are the collar discs that he would have worn is probably that.
Yeah, the basic ones. Unless he was in the PA Guard, they might have had a National Guard one, but you had a U.S. and then you would have had the Caduceus, and then the hat would have either had the U.S. or Caduceus. One or the other.
I tell you,